All right. Action. We're live on YouTube. We'll give it just a few seconds here. Hopefully some folks will jump on. But I guess I'll play this video while we're waiting of buck chasing in Brad's backyard. Check this out.
So that buck right there is in the thickets chasing after some does. There is another doe. Let's see what he does. Oh, he wants that one. Whatever one's back in there. Oh, there they go.
Not a bad
All right,
deer.
that's pretty cool. So, Brad, real quick, tell us about that video.
So I was actually on my way home from work and was on the phone with my wife, and she was watching all the does in the back, and all of a sudden she says, "Hey, babe, there's a buck out here." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "What's going on, Robert?" And I said, "Yeah, is it a good one?" She goes, "Well, it looks decent. It's, nice little guy." I said, "Is it a good one?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, take a picture." And she says, "Well, it's chasing does all over." And I was like, "Well, get off the phone and turn your camera on. I mean, come on, you're an MOR wife. You got to learn to put stuff on video around here, right? We need content." So she hung up with me and managed to catch him after he ran up the hill there. And you can see that small doe, younger doe, went running up that way and kind of stopped in his tracks. And he was highly interested in coming down and handing out his number. But turned out to be a pretty decent buck. I definitely would have. I hadn't got my ground blind up on that food plot yet, but you can guarantee it's sitting there now. I definitely probably would have put one behind the shoulder on that one. I'm guessing he's about a 3.5-year-old, which maybe he'll make it till next year unless he crosses my path. But he was wide and tall. It's definitely bigger than the one I got behind me on the wall. So, but he seemed pretty fired up till he got in there, and kind of didn't really.
Raymond, I don't think we're your type, buddy.
I even shaved today for you, Ray. Look at hair, everything, cleaned myself up. Been kind of a rough week.
Well, let's get this thing going, guys. So, Rut Report. This is our third one. And, yeah, guys are going to share what they're seeing from all over the state. We're going to quick get through our reports. And I think at the end, if we got a few minutes, if we're not going too long, maybe we'll do some Q real quick. So if anybody has any questions regarding the rut activity, hunting strategy, you name it, go ahead and throw those down in the comments, and we'll try to hit a few up there at the end. So, Dennis, a little under the weather, folks, so bear with Dennis. But Dennis, why don't you go ahead and kick us off there in Southeast Michigan?
All right. First up, out of zone 9 and 10 is what I cover. We got Mitchell Blevins sent in his report. He said he had a small buck hot on a doe yesterday morning in Jackson County. He watched him make a scrape, and he was pretty fired up. Hot on a doe yesterday morning in Jackson County. And, yeah, we're getting an echo there. I don't know if you heard that or not. Did you hear the echo?
He got it.
Okay. It was me. And yeah, that's really all I had in my comment section. But I've got 2 reports of my own. I hunted a couple of different counties, and since the last time we were on for the last live or the last report, my first one's out of Hillsdale County. I got to hunt out there, a little town called Frontier, and really, it was the worst trip I've had in years. It's the worst one I ever had out there for sure. That's usually a really good spot. There was a couple of fresh scrapes when I first got there, but they weren't tended to at all. I did see a couple new rubs pop up. I barely seen squat what I seen were pretty much scared deer running across the bean field. I seen a buck, pretty decent sized body, a small rack, go busting across the bean field and dive into the bedding area. And right by that rub right there. And he was in there about 10 minutes or so when I seen a doe come back out of that bedding area, and she took off back the other way across the bean field. And I waited for him to come out. Never seen him come out. About an hour after that, I heard a little bit more grunting, and just never came out of that thick stuff. But the way they were acting, kind of, to be honest with you, I know it's too early, but it was almost like they were locked down out there. I was not seeing nothing. But when I got back home, my other report was coming out of Wayne County where I'm hunting. I seen all kinds of action. There's bucks dogging does. We got new rubs popping up that wasn't there when I left. A couple of new scrapes. I did hear lots of grunting, but everything I seen is pretty much out of range. But eventually it's going to happen. It's definitely hot down here. It's like night and day between Wayne County and Hillsdale in just a couple of days.
All right, let's move over to Ray and hit that southwest central Michigan there.
Well, I just commented there, but yeah, so pretty exciting in my counties. No one wants to comment, so I guess it'll be me. Central Lower Michigan, Clinton and Gratiot County. We are seeing chasing, searching, and I'm starting to see bucks locked down on does. What I mean is, this morning, like I went to work and I'm going down one of the back roads, and there's a doe up under this tree by a house, and there's a buck standing on the field, and he's just standing there, just waiting for any move she's making to chase her or keep her locked down. I've seen this 2 or 3 times now. The rut's full on here in Clinton County and Gratiot County. They're answering to my calls. Chad and I have seen some chase, and like I say, they've come to our calls, got downwind, busted us, but it's on. As far as scrapes and rubs, there's scrapes and stuff, but they're chasing, and their noses are on the ground or right in their tails. So, yeah. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah, if anybody's seen anything in Southwest Michigan, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we'll put it up on the screen there. And as a reminder, too, we share a post every Sunday on our Facebook page for you guys to share your reports. And if you got any pics or videos, you can drop them in there, and we can put them up here on our rut reports for you guys. So let's see. Brad, you want to go next? Which area do you want to do?
We'll start out with Zone 4. So we're going to head over to the west side of the state. So starting off with Paul Tarowski. Hopefully I got your name right, buddy, and didn't tear it up too bad. He sent us in this pic here. Give him a chance to throw it up. Ended up harvesting a nice buck here that he grunted in Kent County. That had answered right up to the grunt call and came right in and gave him a good shot. And obviously he must have looked by where the blood was. He took a nice shot on it, so probably didn't make it too far. Also had Eric Richards, which I believe comments pretty much every week. He covers quite a few different counties on that side. This week he kind of said that bucks are moving in all counties that he's hunting. It sounds like he hunts quite a bit of area down there with Oceana, Muskegon, and Newaygo counties. Said bucks are moving all hours, all size bucks are moving. He's getting a little bit of everything. Sounds like either on camera or seeing them with his own eyes. So, and then also, I didn't have a county mentioned, but Matt Colby sent in this pic here, also out of Zone 4, of a pretty large rub. Said he's finding large rubs, finding a lot of sign of bigger deer starting to move. So I would say that that's a pretty good telltale sign right there that something was a little angry that day or evening and definitely left its mark. So Matt, if you're listening, good luck on that one. You get that buck, we'd like to see a picture of it. Wasn't a whole lot else in Zone 4. That was, everybody was pretty much the same thing. They're seeing some action. Some of them aren't. I guess it just kind of depends on what side of the county you're on, and it seemed like stuff that's getting closer to the west coast seems a little bit more active. So we'll go ahead and switch into Zone 6. And Joe Williams sent us in a video here, a couple smaller bucks. I'm sure Tim's going to pop it up here in a second. Obviously, he's in a ground blind. Got a couple smaller bucks out in front of him, really getting into it. He said that the smaller bucks are getting very aggressive. The big boys are starting to fire up. Not seeing as much activity out of the big guys yet, but you go into statistics, and I read something not that long ago. It's like 6 out of every 10 does get bred by a younger buck anyways. So get these young guys moving, the big guys will come out and start pushing them around and trying to take their dominance on them. So that's out of Sanilac County. And then I didn't have a whole lot out of Zone 6 this week. Joshua Kleiman, he actually came in out of St. Clair County and said that he is absolutely not seeing anything moving as far as chasing or any type of rut activity. So again, like I said, I guess it seems like it matters where you are and what counties. Guessing a lot of that must have to do with population also. So but general consensus, everybody's starting to see a lot of activity. A couple of the counties like St. Clair County, not so much, but I'm sure stuff like that will start firing up. And as you guys seen by the video that I posted, that was end of last week. That buck was obviously chasing, and he was checking them does. So I had another video I posted on the page on Sunday evening. Unfortunately, I lost my mother Sunday afternoon, but it was kind of cool because I ended up having 26 deer in my food plot that night, and that's the most I've seen all year. So kind of took that as a mom was saying goodbye to us, and brought a bunch of deer in. I didn't see any bucks, but there was plenty of nannies in there, and they were definitely putting a hurting on that food plot. So I'm sure they're short to follow. They finally got the corn cut across for me, and I've seen a lot of deer cutting across that cornfield. So hopefully soon here I'll be able to make a change on that here at my house. So, but as far as zones 4 and 6, that's about what I got for coverage this week.
All right. And that was one thing your mom really enjoyed too, right? Was just watching the deer out in the that's pretty cool, man.
That was the cool part about it. She had the window right into the food plot, so she could see everything as her, last few months, and that there was more deer out there than I think I've seen since we've lived here. Showed up in the backyard Sunday evening, so that was kind of cool.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thanks for the reports, Brad. Let's move up to Bill, Mid-Michigan. Bill, what you got going on this week?
Well, seems like it's a little bit of hit or miss, kind of like piggybacking off of Brad. Seems like quite a few people are seeing a lot more scrapes and rubs popping up, and a lot of littler bucks chasing. But Brad Smith out of Saginaw County, he hasn't been seeing anything. He said it's like his does have just disappeared. He hasn't been seeing anything in the last couple of hunts. But then Keith Coulter, just north of him up in Clare County, he's been seeing a lot of little bucks chasing, pushing does around the ag fields. And, he said the bigger ones are starting to get up and on their feet. So it seems hit or miss, county by county. From what I'm seeing here in Bay County, it's definitely heating up. Starting to see some really nice rubs. And I found a nice scrape. Yeah, big scrape I found. That and that big old rub. So I'm getting fired up for that. Got a few days. This time change is the worst part right now because you everything's good. You get home from work, you got time to get out in the woods. Now you got that little window to hit, and if you don't hit it, there's no sense in going out and busting the woods. So I'm playing that game right now. Scene 6, chasing that. Yep. See, it seems like that's pretty much the general consensus here in Zone 5 is a lot of the little bucks are pushing them around. And hopefully soon the bigger ones get up and on their feet and start pushing them around or pushing them out.
All right. I'll go next here. So Jordan and I are splitting up north. I've got zones 2 and 3, northern lower, and then we'll move on to Jordan for the UP report. Now, what I noticed is it was the weather. I think definitely affected the deer movement last week. I think there was hot and cold moments, kind of like what we're seeing in the rest of the state. The high temps, the strong winds, the rain. It was like we had all sorts of crazy weather. In fact, we had snow at one point, so we had like all 4 seasons in a week last week, and I really think that impacted the deer movement. Now, my own personal observation from out there is a lot of it, I think, again, because of the weather, there was a lot of nocturnal movement. And at least up my way, it seemed like it was very, very hit and miss, depending on what county you were, as far as what kind of activity you were seeing. I myself, where I hunt Sheboygan County, I was not finding any real scrape activity anywhere. I was not really seeing anything that had me to believe that the bucks were even pushing does yet at this point. But I'll tell you what, that seemed to have changed. I want to say around Sunday. Saturday, I hunted and I did a little bit of scouting midday, and I really didn't kind of find anything as far as scrapes, rubs, anything like that. I went back to work Sunday, and I had Monday off. I went out and I did some scouting, and it was like someone hit the switch. I found scrapes all over the place. Found a lot of rubs. The deer definitely got more aggressive coming out of the weekend, and just what I'm hearing, it does sound like a lot of movement is still yet nocturnal. Younger bucks are being seen during daylight, but the big boys haven't quite come full tilt yet. So Robert's chiming in with a quick comment here. He's out of Grand Traverse County. Over the past 2 days, scrapes and rubs have exploded. Little bucks have been getting really active over the last 36 hours. So Robert's definitely seeing the same thing. Let's see. I'll just go through a couple other reports here. This is out of the Atlanta area. Find the picture. Alan Roszewski. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. He took this buck. This is kind of the hot and cold, the hit and miss type of deal, but this is a more mature buck here. He caught chasing does middle of the day. So let me go back to my reports here. Some other reports coming out of Northern Lower. Younger bucks being more active. That's from Nick's story. Also out of Grand Traverse County, Moraes. We'll go with Daniel M. Sorry, I don't know your last name. He's also reporting slow, and he feels like the weather had a lot to do with it. Todd Hodge out of Gladwin County said Friday and Saturday morning were real good, and then Saturday night they shut down. He's running 6 cell cams, and he hasn't noticed much since he left on Sunday. So it sounds like he's a weekend warrior, maybe in that area. And last report coming out of Kalkaska County, he found several scrapes. This is Mark Denton. Found several scrapes on his property, but deer aren't moving much till dark for first light. It's too dark to get a shot, see how many points they have, so they're holding tight. Lots of activity in cameras at nighttime. So I think the best is yet to come. Hopefully this weather this week, with it being highs in the 50s, will maybe push them along a little bit further, and we'll really start to see that full rut kick on. So that's what I got in the Northern Lower. Jordan, let's move up to you. What's going on up there in the UP?
I'll jump into reports I got from fellow Upers first. I got one here from Paul Stawecki out of Delta County. Says he's seeing increasing amounts of rubs. Scrapes are going down presently. A few bucks pushing unreceptive does. And again, that was out of Delta County. Then I've got a message here from Tim Pesey out of Ontonagon County. And he says he is just starting to see a little bit of rut sign in his area down there, Bruce's Crossing. Then I've got one from Dan Featherstone out of Marquette County. And he says he's seeing the first does of the season in lockdown. And my observations, I covered quite a bit of ground. And this last week was interesting. Things got really good and started to go a positive direction. And like you said, we had all seasons within a span of 4 days. We got our first shot of snow up here last week. I forget what day it was. Turned everything white. Wasn't any real accumulation, but that was exciting. Got the deer moving a little bit. Saw my first rage rub of the season, which was fairly well sized. I think I sent you in a picture of that, Tim, if you want to throw that up there real quick. Yeah, there you go. So that's about 4 foot tall, roughly. shredded up pretty good. Nice size rub. First one I've seen like that so far this year. So they're not going crazy, but they're starting. Seen a little bit of chasing going on, but again, nothing serious. I think we're kind of right on the verge. I don't think the weather was helping things at all because it went from snow and 28 degrees to 65 and sunny. That don't bode well ever. So like you, Tim, I'm kind of hoping for some better weather this coming week. I think that will move things along. We're getting close, but we're not in what I would call full rut in zone 1 yet at this point.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. All right, we got probably a couple minutes here. Anybody has maybe some Q&A you guys want to do with us? Any questions regarding the rut, or maybe any other comments you guys want to share with where you're hunting at throughout the state? We can put that up here. So, I don't have a picture of it, but something we can talk about for a minute. Give people time to maybe come up with a question. But I just recently bought a couple of decoys, and I'm new to the decoy game here. So the Montana decoys, if you guys have ever seen them, it's a 2D decoy, and they're lightweight. You can kind of fold them down like the old pop-up blinds and throw them in your backpack with a couple stakes. So I guess one question for you guys, since I'm a newbie to all this, talk to me about decoys. Do you guys use them? When do you put them out? How do you set them up? What you got for me that can help me out?
I am a big fat zero in that discussion. I have never used decoys for anything, so I can't contribute there.
I use them. I've been using them. I think I put it out the first time. I had a little doe decoy. I put her out, I think on the 26th. And I've been using her here and there. I use her usually from like the 26th through maybe a couple days after Halloween, and I usually put the thing away. Like when they're doing the seeking, the seeking phase, they're looking for that first doe. That's when I like to use them. But other than that, like during the rut, there's nothing beats the real thing. So usually you get a doe coming in. She's usually got a buck on her tail. And sometimes she'll be weirded out if she sees that decoy. I've noticed she gets a little boogered up, especially if she's got the estrus scent. She wants to stay away from that thing just in case there's a buck in the area. She gets tired of getting, poked around and pushed all the time. So that's what I'm thinking. Is they don't want nothing to do with that. They see that thing, they booger up and go the other way. But I like it the first part of the pre-rut, I guess.
So the only thing I've ever really seen on anybody with them is they say stink them up, but I don't know how that would work with those fold ups like that. But everybody always says stink them up. You know what I mean? Whether it's a doe and heat or just even with the Evercalm, putting something on them to make them give that natural attraction to it, so it's not a complete. Still got human scent on stuff like that, but make sure that they stink. That's the only thing I've ever heard from anybody else.
Yep, I was just about to say one tip that I did get on those particular decoys. You could probably apply it to others. Is get like a little white rag and actually like clip it to the back of the doe decoy and spray some scent on it, and it'll look like a tail maybe, and it'll have that scent linger in there. So this would be a good question for Ray, but we lost him. Kyle N asks, has EHD killed a lot of your mature bucks? We have found quite a few while harvesting corn and beans. Kyle, what county are you out of? Because from what I've seen posted to the page, it kind of seems to be a southern Michigan type of deal. So, but maybe Dennis or Brad or Bill, have you guys seen any results from EHD? Kyle's out at Elegant.
I haven't seen anything really. Tuscola County, I haven't. And there's a lot of guys and hunters that talk on like our Millington pages and stuff like that as far as hunting and stuff. And I haven't seen anybody putting stuff up of it as a concern. I know I've seen a lot of people talk about Kent County, which I think's over Ray's area, Kent County. Heard a lot coming from the central southern to central mid part of the state and working its way out, but it seems like that's the heartbeat of the you know, like this epicenter of that problem. I haven't heard a whole lot over here in the thumb whatsoever. I mean, I don't think I'd have to ask Bill. I don't know that he has either.
I haven't heard anything.
I've got what 3 water sources on my property. I've got a big creek in the back, a small creek in my backyard, and I got a pond. And I kind of figured if I'd have found any problems around here that I probably would have found something in my pond by now or back in the creek, and I haven't found either or. So I'm gonna give you one of those and hope to God that as of now we're not really having that issue up here in the thumb, unless you know somebody comes on and comments and corrects me. But I haven't seen that problem yet around here, anyways, or I haven't really seen anybody complaining about it yet. So
I haven't seen it at all here. I haven't seen it at all here, but I got friends that do hunt the other side of Jackson County. What is that? Calhoun County. I've been hearing like the west part of Calhoun County, headed towards like the southwest part of the state, all the way down into Coldwater. I've been hearing nightmare stories actually about EHD hitting out there. But yeah, nothing around here that I've seen, and I haven't heard too much out of Jackson County either. I know a lot of people that hunt out there, and I think I've heard of 2 deer found this year from Jackson County, but honestly, who knows exactly what killed them. But yeah, other than that, I don't have no troubles at all down here where I'm hunting in Wayne County that I know of.
Yeah, I know Ray found he found that one. He posted that to the page. That was in Clinton County, and it sounds like kind of southwest Michigan is what got hit, you know, the hardest. And just from posts we've seen on our page too, it sounds like in some areas it's been absolutely devastating too. Some guys saying they found like 30, 40 dead deer, mostly bucks too, at water sources, just leading up to season. So hopefully, from what I understand, the midge fly or whatever that carries that, I think once you get a good hard freeze or whatever, that kind of does away with it. So hopefully we hit that down there for everybody, and we can put that behind us for this year, and hopefully the deer can recover well in those areas. So
have a good one. Be safe.
all right. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat, so unless you guys have anything else, I think we'll end tonight's Ruck Report. And just as a reminder, Sunday night on Facebook, we'll put our post up. If you guys could share your reports, any pics or videos, and we'll be back next week for another Ruck Report. If you're getting out there, be safe. Make sure to harness up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more hunters hitting the woods, so just be mindful and courteous to other hunters, especially if you're hunting that public land. And we'll see you back here next week.